And Nina, who we're going to speak to in just a second, is a member of one of the teams and is also, I believe, one of your favorite runners. So let's talk to Nina. Welcome, Nina Cerfolio. I appreciate you coming here today.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
So you've run one marathon before.
Yes.
And you've actually got yourself into Boston Marathon. You qualified.
Yes,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Not an easy feat.
It was a wonderful day. It was one of the best days of my life.
Now, you're visually impaired.
Yes, I am.
Tell us about quickly your visual impairment, please.
I was born with a congenital cataract over my retina, so I'm legally blind in that eye. And I was actually thinking, I was engaging about having a kid, and so if my child had a congenital cataract, I figured that they would undergo surgery, which actually wasn't available when I was a kid. So I underwent the surgery, even though I knew I'd have amblyopia and would not be able to see out of the eye.
Define that, please.
Amblyopia is when the cerebellum is the back part of the brain, and the visual tracts basically take they take the information to the back of the cerebellum, and it's how you basically see. So,
interpret the information as well.
Exactly.
Okay.
So it's like reversed. It's backwards. I forget what it is, but anyhow, the
end result is your eye is still bad.
Exactly. But as a consequence of me not being able to process information out of the eye, that part of my brain never developed. And if it doesn't develop before the age of like 7, 8, 9, up till 11, you basically aren't going to process any visual stimuli. So even though now I had a lens put in postlenticularly and the cataract removed, that part of my brain is not developed, so it doesn't process visual stimuli. So that's what amblyopia is.
But it developed enough to give you an interest to go into psychiatry.
Yes, it did.
You're a psychiatrist.
Yes, I am.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You have certainly completed a major educational feat, even though you're visually impaired.
Thank
that's
you.
very difficult.
It was difficult. I think it definitely affected my reading comprehension. And I was a French major in college. It wasn't a typical science.
Well, that was half of your problem.
Exactly. That was probably the definition of my
So
problem.
how did you become involved with the Achilles Club and start running?
Well, basically, I heard about the possibility of leading a disabled athlete in the marathon. So I volunteered and was lucky enough to get into it during the last half of the New York City Marathon.
And what year was this, Nina?
This was 2 years ago, so it was 2000, right?
Okay.
And I basically had an amazing time. I met a 21-year-old man that was in a wheelchair from Jamaica, and he was, first of all, he went very fast, but he was just great. He was like a great guy. So it was an awesome experience.
So you've always been sort of inclined to be an athlete?
Yes.
And so running marathons was something that never really kind of came across your mind until someone introduced this to you.
Exactly. Actually, until I saw the Achilles runners, they just are so inspirational.
We should remind people that when you watch the New York City Marathon, okay, not the Achilles Marathon, the New York City Marathon, the Achilles members are usually with guides, or they're in wheelchairs on their own, or hand crank cycles, and they usually have either a vest on or Achilles t-shirt, correct?
Yes.
So that's how you can always,
right.
Spot and support the Achilles members.
Definitely.
There's usually a huge roar of a crowd somewhere near Achilles group.
Yes. They're just totally inspirational. there's a gentleman who pushes his wheelchair backwards. I think he has cystic fibrosis.
Cerebral palsy.
Oh, cerebral palsy. And
for 26 miles.
yeah, he's amazing.
That man is incredible.
He is incredible. He's so determined and so joyful and so happy.
You don't consider yourself disabled, do you?
No, not really. No,
Just
I think
another barrier, hurdle in life.
exactly. My attitude always is that everyone has a handicap, whether it be physical, mental, emotional. Everyone has something they have to overcome in life, and I think that's what we're here for. Actually, is just to deal with whatever, if you want to call it a handicap we have, and overcome it.
Certainly. Now, being a psychiatrist, you deal with people on a daily basis who have problems and hurdles that they need to overcome and address. Now, let's apply this, your field, to sports with athletes who are disabled. That must be a whole different, compelling part of psychology.
Definitely. I think that, in psychiatry, basically you're dealing with people's vulnerabilities and their issues, and they're being able to confront that. Taking the bull by the horns and confronting it and overcoming it is very similar to a disabled athlete having to deal with their physical disability and be able to accomplish what for an able-bodied person is really difficult. So I think it's very similar in the sense that it makes a person more confident. It makes a person believe in themselves. It gives them the ability to feel that they can pretty much do whatever they want in life if they set their mind to it and really work for it. And I think that's awesome.
I imagine that there are pretty much two types of athletes who are disabled. People who were disabled later on in life or as a child who were maybe have been exposed to athletics prior to their accident and continued to delve into their field or even take on different sports. And then you have a person who maybe have had an accident in their life and said, well, what am I going to do with my life? I'm in a chair, or I have two prosthetics here. What can I do? What other challenges can I do besides maybe educationally, professionally? Let's look at sports. So you must have, do you deal with patients at all in a disabled aspect and or with sports?
I have patients that have disabilities, that have medical illnesses, and I encourage all my patients, actually, especially the ones that are depressed or anxious, to exercise aerobically, because it really increases your norepinephrine, your epinephrine, your serotonin levels, which are really decreased in the central nervous system.
All the good stuff.
Yeah.
You got to get that stuff shaking around, moving around. That's for sure. Well, that's what they call the runner's high, correct?
Exactly.
Do you feel a difference when you run and don't run?
I feel completely different after I run. I mean, for me, I'm exhausted after my day of work, and I just have to force myself to go out, which is the hardest part. And then running is totally invigorating. It's uplifting. It just gives me a sense of ease and a joy. That's, it's so nice to be outside and to be alive, and it's a distressor. It really gets rid of stress, and
it really does kind of melts the day away
completely.
Kind of gives you clarity,
and it picks you up as well where you didn't think you had any energy.
It certainly does. Nina, going back to what we were just speaking about a second ago, someone who has been recently disabled or disabled and hadn't done sports, competed in sports prior to their disability. Now they're disabled, they want to participate in sports. This must mean the world to them because, first of all, there are many outlets. You have the Special Olympics, you have the Paralympics, you have all different types of venues to participate in. So these people, these individuals, whether they're good, decent, or incredible, it must have such a positive impact on them, motivationally, interpersonally, intrapersonally, the whole kit and caboodle.
Exactly. I think especially for people that had a trauma in their life and are dealing with something that's new, it's and if they're especially not athletic, it's that much more of an impact on them in terms of them really being able to realize that they're really capable of almost anything they set their mind to. I think it has that much more of an impact on them. And
as Dick had said earlier, the reason why you have an Achilles Marathon is not just to separate people with disabilities. There are able-bodied persons here as well. And so in some arenas, you just have persons with disabilities, which is fine because not all races should have both able-bodied and disabled, because you have to have a level playing field when you have competition. But the competition for the Achilles Marathon is sort of, on a different scale. Definitely. Compared to Paralympics, Special Olympics, etc. Right.
I think the spirit of the Achilles Marathon was awesome. I mean, it was just very positive and everyone encouraging each other, and it was special.
It certainly was.
It really was special.
Yeah. I didn't see you there last year.
You didn't?
No, I was there.
I was there.
I was behind a microphone.
You were?
Yes, promoting you, telling you to run faster, telling you to smile. Probably not you smile, because your smile is pretty frequent and large, that's for sure.
Thank you.
So, Nina, I expect that on Sunday, April 28th this year, 2002, you're going to be a busy woman.
Yes.
So you're running in the second annual Achilles Marathon in Prospect Park.
Yes, I am.
Good for you.
Part of a relay team, so...
you're kind of slacking on Sunday, huh?
Well, I'm slacking because I'll just have finished the Boston Marathon.
Oh, okay. So understandable. I take that back. I bow to you right now. Good for you.
Thank you.
Good for you. So how many miles will you do on your
6
four-person team? Okay.
Yeah, 6
So you're going to divide it evenly.
Right.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah. I'm actually really looking forward to that.
Good. Now, do you know where you want to be in terms of leg on the marathon? The first leg, second, third, fourth?
Doesn't matter to me,
Doesn't matter.
Actually.
Yeah. Now, where do you see yourself? Do you see yourself just being a hobbyist in terms of an avid runner, or do you want to take this further with Achilles and just keep promoting this and telling more and more people about it, and possibly running Boston again, maybe in 2003 with an Achilles Marathon t-shirt on?
Definitely.
Where do you see this going?
No, I look at it pretty competitively for myself, and want to keep on improving my time in marathons, hopefully getting close to a 3-hour marathon if I have that in me.
So you got bit by the running bug for sure.
I did.
Good for you.
And I would love to, represent Achilles. I mean, I think Achilles is an awesome organization. They do so much for people that have disabilities, and it just changes their lives completely.
It certainly really does. Now, do you raise money as well, being in the Achilles Club for the marathon?
We're going to raise money for AIDS, most likely. We haven't really decided on which organization, but that's what I want to do.
Wonderful.
So that will be one of them.
Well, the best of luck to you, Nina. It was
Thank
a pleasure
you so
meeting
much.
you, and the best of luck with your eye condition as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And may all your days be 2020.
I hope so.